Okay, guys, we are live. Dr. Mike S. from Stanlaw Fitness. How are you guys doing today?
What's up? Doing
Good,
good.
good. How
Ready to
about
roll.
you?
As promised, we were going to be back 6:15 today, Wednesday the 19th, to talk more specifically about weight training. So let me start off with this kind of overreaching question, and we'll take it from there. So I think you could agree with me, both Mikes, that getting more people to exercise is the overreaching goal by far. But more and more recently, you've been seeing how important strength training, strength building, building muscle mass is becoming more and more important, especially as we age. So there's my thought to throw out to both of you guys and see how you respond to that.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mike. Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody watching out there? Strength training. This is the one thing I know when Dr. Noah and Dr. Mike talked about having a conversation about this tonight. Strength training is so important, to say the least, and it's amazing how much it's evolved since I started as a trainer, 2008, Valley Total Fitness. For anybody that remembers that place, even the how far we've come in 15 years. When I started, I remember maybe 60-70% of women especially thought I shouldn't touch a dumbbell. This is going to bulk me up. It's going to make me look like the Hulk. Now people are inquiring, saying, I know I need to strength train. I mean, there's so much information out there, but we have so many men and women reaching out. And the days of, is this going to bulk me up? I think the knowledge is out there and people know that's not going to happen. But the health benefits are amazing for men, for women, from an aesthetic standpoint and cosmetic, which, of course, everybody wants to look good, but how much it's building the muscle, how much it's helping your bone density, mental, physical health, and just functional strength, and just making sure that day to day you're preventing injury, random things that we might have to deal with during the day, picking things up, putting them down. But strength training is essential for absolutely everybody. So everybody should be doing it with their own limitations and situations. So, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. Mike, what in your in at Stanlaw Fitness? I mean, you are fantastic at posting. Um, that sense of community is amazing. What I notice in your posts, there are a lot of women that go to Stanlaw Fitness. Like I want to say it's the majority. Am I right in that?
Yeah, we have in the last couple of years, we've gotten a lot more men too, but naturally, I feel like the small fitness community with studios especially is mostly going to be women. I don't know if that's because we're all stubborn and don't like being told what to do. Even though we are getting a lot more men in, I would still say it's 80% women in the studio. So it's definitely a great community, but yeah, 80% women for sure.
Awesome. I mean, that is an amazing number, and my roots in fitness go all the way back to in the '80s, and I can tell you, working at AT&T in their fitness center in the '80s, it was if women did come in, they were predominantly running. They weren't doing any kind of weight training whatsoever. And I agree with you, Mike, that weight training and exercise science has come so far in the last couple of years. It's dramatically shifting. Um, the studies that are out there are amazing because you can build muscle. There's actually studies showing you could build muscle even in your 90s, even if you are in a wheelchair and are wheelchair bound in your 90s, you can build muscle. So we're seeing this, that saying that you said, I don't want to get bulky. It's kind of going out the window with everything else that we thought we knew when it came to weight training.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I love that you said that about building muscle into your 90s, because I remember a client asked me a couple of years ago. I think he was in his 50s, and he pretty much had this notion that, once you're in your 50s, it's over. I just work out just to work out, but I'm not gonna make any more progress. I'm not gonna build any more muscle.
Yep.
Any stimulus you put on the body, whether you're in your 20s or in your 40s and 50s, and sometimes I think you do have an advantage in your 40s and 50s, because you're hopefully smarter, and B, when you do it for so long, you build up that not just muscle maturity, but you have that muscle memory, learn how to lift more effectively. And I personally have a few clients that are I don't know if they're watching right now, but two gentlemen I train specifically, named Dennis and Gary. And these guys are, not to sound corny, but they are role models for me, because they just recently started up at the studio a couple of years ago, and the kind of shape that they are both in is amazing. And even personally, as long as I've been doing this, I did not know that you can naturally put on that kind of strength and muscle and still have such a presence about you in your 60s. And I'm 36, but I'm always thinking about the long run. And I said to them, like, I want to be like that when I'm in my 60s. So nobody should ever feel like, that was me in my 20s. Now I'm just here working out. So it's amazing to hear that.
Absolutely. No, what are your thoughts on that?
About adding muscle and strength as you age. I'm in that. That's where I'm at in my life right now. I've been a runner for most of my life, but I'm switching focus now to becoming stronger. Not, as we've said a couple times already, not bulking up, but being stronger. There's all sorts of studies, like you said, Mike, that you can get stronger as you age, and how important it is in terms of, if you have a strong, if you're strong, if you have a decent amount of muscle mass and you get sick when you age, you have a much greater chance of surviving that illness. So that alone kind of entices me somewhat. And I'm never going to be very big. I'm kind of thin, but I find that to be very, very important. On top of that, I'm just going to be a little bit of a plug. I absolutely love Arnold Schwarzenegger's new weekly email and podcast called the Arnold Schwarzenegger's Pump Club. I really think it's fantastic. But I think it was today or yesterday, he talked about people. Very few people like to stretch, but weight training, it actually increases your mobility and flexibility in most joints. Not everyone. Hips, things are a little bit more challenging. But not only does strength training increase your strength and may increase your longevity, but it also can help you be more flexible, which was mind-blowing to me this morning reading that.
Yeah, I actually noticed that he started doing that newsletter. As a huge bodybuilding and Arnold fan, I did not subscribe to it yet, but I'm definitely going to have to get on that. I definitely grew up, Arnold was obviously in the 70s in bodybuilding, but I grew up pumping iron, watching that documentary, like I'm sure a lot of us have. And he's still the man.
You want to know a small aside to that, because we are all in the business of storytelling. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a pothole in front of his house in California. It was there for 2 months, and he just decided he'd had enough, and he went and filled it in himself the other day. I think he's 75 now, and he looks amazing at his age. But he's like, okay, so I got myself out there, and I got a couple guys, and we filled it in, and then the city said it wasn't, and so it was very funny. It's just Arnold being Arnold, and I'm going to fill this thing myself. So pretty
not to take a turn and make this about Arnold's, but I remember, in Columbus, Ohio, they have the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, and I went with my brothers and my father back in 2012, and I had the privilege of seeing Arnold speak front row. I didn't get to meet him, but when I tell you that there was never a more charismatic personality that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I've been to comedy shows, and you see all these social media influencers without even trying. There was just some kind of aura about him and the way that he would speak and make everybody laugh without trying. As much as I'm a bodybuilding fan, he worked hard and, lifted the weights and, of course, everything else, the steroids that go along with it. I'm more of a fan of, his mindset and just how he was able to influence others. Because I sat there like, how is he doing this right now? So he's definitely one in a billion type personality.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Next question. But Arnold Schwarzenegger also is a huge chiropractic fan too, by the way. All right, Mike, what are your quintessential strength building exercises?
I would always go with the basics. Definitely some kind of squat variation. It doesn't have to be a barbell on your back. It could be holding the dumbbells. It could be, the body weight squat in general is really all you need, even just sitting down and standing back up. If you can add some kind of resistance safely to it without compressing your spine, that's excellent. Definitely some kind of deadlift variation, just because of that whole posterior chain, your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back, that pulling power. I would always add some kind of pressing movement, both for the chest and overhead. The bench press tends to get a bad rap because, it's going to hurt your shoulders. But if you do it correctly and you use the right amount of load, you're really not going to get hurt doing it. And then some kind of row, something for your back muscles. I think if somebody can build up to doing body weight exercises like pull-ups and push-ups and things like that, that's amazing. I know it's not for everybody at first, but always a squat, always a deadlift, chest press, shoulder press, row. We could always get into, pushing a sled and pulling things for more functionality. But when people are starting off and even years into training, those are the basics. It could be said that all that, what's the word? Axillary work, your triceps and biceps, that gets worked with a lot of the heavier compound movements. So it's fun to train arms and things like that. But, when you work the larger muscle groups, everything else tends to take care of itself.
So pull, push, squat, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know the whole, people say your pull day, your push day, your leg day. I think that's more for athletes. It depends on if you're looking at it from like an athletic performance standpoint versus cosmetic standpoint, or trying to find some kind of happy medium. But definitely a pull, a push, squat, deadlifts. Those are your basics. I think so, at least.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. And every population is going to have its challenges, and when you're looking at an athlete, they're different animals altogether compared to the general population and working out. But it's you nailed it right on the head. Like, you can actually start, like, for somebody who hasn't worked out, let's just say since high school, and has decided to start working out in their 40s, you want to recognize what some of those limitations are, and get them just doing free body weight squats. Like, it's not that complicated. It doesn't need to be that hard. So I think what you're saying, Mike, is spot on.
Thank you. And it's got to be fun. It's got to be enjoyable.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be, to make a change in the body, as long as somebody's been working out for, sometimes you really just have to go back to basics, because the body does respond to stress. And I think, talking about, legendary bodybuilders, I remember a quote by Lee Haney saying, stimulate, don't annihilate. We talk about you have to leave the gym crawling and in pain. And that's all fine and good if you really want to push yourself. But if you look at it from a basic science standpoint, when you put a stress on the muscle that it's not used to, whether it's progressive overload or whether it's changing the angle or changing the tempo or adding some kind of post-failure intensity method, as long as it's different, that muscle is going to respond. That's all you need is that change. It doesn't have to leave you, puking in a trash can somewhere, in order to really make a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You said something, Mike. First of all, I've been enjoying goblet squats recently. That's been my new endeavor. But you said something about being able to sit up from a chair, and that simple movement is one of the most important things for elderly people. I'm talking about 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. That motion of getting up, sitting, and being able to get up is huge. So for anybody really older, the really old folks out there, that's something that you could work on every single day. That'll make a huge difference in your life.
It has to be done. That there are some clients that I train specifically that they do have trouble getting up and down, and I said to them, I said, look, it's going to sound silly, but even if we made our whole workout just sitting on the bench and just getting up and just continuing that is something that everybody has to be able to move their body. So forget about the bicep curls, forget about the shoulder presses. If you cannot get up and down without with ease, that is something that everybody has to work on, because my wife, she's hooked on this 600-pound life show, which, believe it or not, I don't watch it that much, but how people take for granted how awesome it is to be able to move our bodies and to do things with our bodies. And the people on these shows, they're sadly in that position where they're not in control of their body anymore. So yeah, you got to be able to get up and down, to say the least.
And what we see in our office is when people come in to see us, they can't get off the chair a lot of times. And this is in their 20s and 30s, where they need to actually use the arms of the chair to push themselves off. Now, it's a little different. They're coming in because they're in pain, but that pain was the signal that something was wrong. And the reality is that in their 20s and 30s, this is when it starts. And they graduate from college, or graduate from high school, and then they start working. And if they're sitting all day, you're going to wind up with really tight hip flexors, you're going to wind up with tight hamstrings. And this is when this starts to basically shift for them. And by the time they're 40, it's creating a lot of problems for them. So going even before you see us, you go and see somebody like Mike. And I will point to this every time. What I like what you said, Mike, was, group fitness, you make it fun. You make it, there's a lot of camaraderie. You make it really, really fun for people. And that counts for a lot. That gets them to keep coming back because of that tribe.
And that's, with anything, I think there has to be that sense of comfortability with the people that you're around. And you almost, what I feel is, I'm always keeping it in the front of my mind that, we're here to get healthy. We're here to get fit. We're here to get stronger. But it's nice to see people sometimes almost forget about that, so that we kind of like, I don't want to say trick them into exercising, but hey, they're here. Your friends are here. Your family's here. There's music that hopefully they like. I try to play good music for everybody. Sometimes I fail miserably, but they're having fun. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know they're getting their quads in, they're working their upper body, their core is getting stronger. They're sweating and they're elevating their heart rates. And when they're done, I mean, yeah, we put our class pictures up and it's awesome to see everybody together. So like I said, in a way, it's almost like a fun way of, hey, I got tricked into getting stronger today because I had fun with my friends.
Absolutely.
All right. 3, body weight exercises versus machines versus free weights.
Wow. That, I would say, if you can, the combination of all three is amazing. personal preference, I would always say go with some kind of free weight and or body weight exercise first. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the machines. I just always think they should be used almost as a supplement. I think there's certain machines that you're going to need to work your back that you're really not going to be able to duplicate with free weights. I have not found a way to do a lat pull down yet with free weights. You're going to need some kind of machine to pull down. A hamstring curl could definitely be done, by holding the dumbbell between your feet and laying on the floor, but it's a little awkward. If somebody does like some kind of leg press, it's excellent to have that machine. But, there's been times where I'm seeing people get in amazing shape just using their body weight, just using, those free weights. And it's really, I want to say, all you need. There's a few exceptions. If you're really into fitness and you want to hit a muscle from a certain angle, then there's all different kinds of machines. Trust me, Instagram has found a way to target me by now, where all I see is get this machine, and they're all $18,000 each. But I would say for the most part, your free weights and your body weight. If you can master your body weight, if you have that control that you can do a pull up, that you can do a push up, I've never been one of these guys that I'm able to do these, hanging on the bar with one hand, doing windshield wipers with your feet back and forth. But I can understand that if you keep subjecting your body to it, that you can eventually get to that point, because the body just adapts over time. And if you keep doing it, you'll get there. But I would say free weights and body weight, and then machine right after. Even people that are just starting off, that think that, I'm just starting, so I just need to do the machines first. I think it's kind of the opposite. You need to start learning how to use your body weight and free weights, even if you can't do a push-up and you have to start against a wall. If you can't do a plank and you have to start on your knees, you just progress.
Yeah, that's another good point, Mike. And what, for somebody who's starting, or somebody who's deconditioned, I think it's really important to start with a lighter weight or a body weight and relearn like a kid how your body moves in space, the proprioception. So you do not get that with a machine. And I get it. There's a lot of people who, if they go to the gym, they'll use the machine because they're not training with a partner. So there's a safety issue with the partner, but you should also be able to do dumbbells or, like Noah was saying, like goblet squats, kettlebells, where you're in complete control and you're relearning how to use your body and how it moves in space.
Absolutely. Yeah, that for some reason, that word proprioception in every training textbook I read, especially the NASM, they always loved using that word for some reason. That was one of their. There was that one, and then there was what is it? Auto inhibition. Maybe you guys can help me out with this. It's been a while.
It's been a while too.
Autonomic inhibition, something like that. There's always like these key phrases they like to use. But proprioception, just understanding how your body works in certain environments.
Yep.
Having that mind muscle connection is everything.
Yes. Awesome.
Okay. How about this one? More repetitions or less reps with higher weights?
I would say, it should always say it depends. That's always how you're supposed to start. But I think that's a pretty easy question to answer. I would really have people I'd rather them go with lower repetitions and challenging weights. And when I say lower repetitions, I mean in that 10 to 12 range. Lighter weights and like we said before, it has to challenge you. There has to be a stimulus on the muscle. If lighter weights was really true, I would say let's just pick up this water bottle. We'll do 10,000 curls and we'll have the best biceps ever. But it does have to challenge you. I generally like keeping people between, whether men or women, in that 8 to 12 range. sometimes going as low as 6, as long as it's challenging. But that's as you become more advanced. I think when you become more advanced and we say do 6 reps, that means by the time you're at 4, you should be like, okay, I have 1 or 2 left, and then I'm finished with this. The higher repetitions, maybe once in a while, if you want to confuse the muscles and finish with 20 or 30 reps, that's really good just to shock it. But I don't really think light weights should apply unless it's in your setting with the physical therapy and with a chiropractic setting and getting somebody back to where they want to be. Sometimes you have to check the ego at the door. When we talked about these athletes that are used to bench pressing 350 pounds and they tear a rotator cuff or a pectoral muscle, and they have to start from 3-pound dumbbell. That's a different story. But generally, in a nutshell, 8 to 12 reps.
I agree. There needs to be an adaptation to the stimulus. Bottom line, you have to adapt to it. You could do 50 reps and of or 100 or, like you said, 10,000 reps and with that water bottle, but you want to be efficient within the context of a workout. So I think it's really important to, dependent upon what the goal is and dependent upon what the level of intensity is. But agree, Michael.
Thing, not to interrupt, but I tell people that there's this expression that I love, and that's muscles can't count. They just know that burning sensation. They know that this is working. So I try to tell people have a general guideline, 8 to 12 reps, but there's, if you could do 13, if you do 14, and it's your last set, keep going by all means, because when we get in that, and I've been there before too, like I have to do 6, I have to do 8, I have to do 10. Like the muscles, they just know, like if I push it a little bit more, it's going to respond. So sometimes, know the numbers, know what you're shooting for, but always listen to your body and listen to what your muscles are telling you.
Yeah, Mike, it's pretty funny. I just thought of this. And when you talk about this reps, and we really, just from a psychological point of view, when we say, let's not look at the number, let's train to failure. Now, in our society, people are like, "Oh, I don't want to fail. I'm not built for failure. I'm built for winning." So it's really hard to trick the mind when you're by yourself to get to that level where the adaptation occurs. Now, the beauty of being in a class setting is exactly what you said. You almost kind of trick the person into doing a couple more reps, where if they were by themselves, they would have put the weights down.
Exactly. And I love it when I try not to show my excitement too much when a client actually fails out on an exercise, because I know that they push themselves. Generally the client, if I say, hey, let's go for 10, and they fail at 7, they're crushed. Oh, I didn't do it. The trainer must be disappointed, and I'm a disappointment. And in my mind, I'm like, no, they pushed that muscle to the limit, assuming it was with good form. And if it was a solid 7 or 8 reps, and that's what took them to failure, I'm like, that's great, because so many times people aim for that 10 reps and they stop, and they probably have some more in them. And when it comes to the classes generally take our members to failure, because we try to time everything for about a minute. Sadly, I cannot count reps for 20 people. If any of our members are watching this, they know I have a hard time counting for one person sometimes. So, in that minute, if I say, do shoulder presses for a minute, do bicep curls for a minute, you can see that the people that they have to stop and they have to reset themselves and they have to start again. And same thing. I love seeing it, because it means you took your muscles to failure, that you have to stop and start again. But I always tell them, failure with resistance training is a good thing. It should happen. It should happen with good form. It shouldn't happen to the point where you're trying to swing it and struggle and all of that. But yeah, failure is a good thing generally.
Absolutely.
Mike, Mike, I can't tell you how many times I've seen, and Mike, Dr. Mike, you could vouch for me, how many people, very fit people that have had shoulder surgeries doing rehab here with 1, 2, and 3 pound weights, and they're sweating like like it was an 80-pound weight when they're rehabbing their shoulder. so yeah, our setting for the dumbbell and the dumbbell usage is definitely different for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be cool for you guys to see, not that they're struggling with that weight, but to rebuild the body and using those tools to get them to where they want to be. And it's probably your hope, of course, that they continue their physical therapy after the fact. I know a patient sticking with it by themselves is probably one of the most difficult things. I probably shouldn't tell you how many people I talk to that say, "Oh, doctor told me to do this," but I kind of been slacking. So I know it's a tough thing for somebody to develop that discipline and to do it by themselves. But from what I understand, or at least from what I have read and interviews, is that once your muscle once you have to repair it, it should be something you prioritize the rest of your life, because it has to be stronger than before they came to you guys.
Yeah, agree.
Absolutely.
Mike, what thoughts on cardio the same day you're doing strength building?
I think it's okay. I wouldn't recommend doing it in the same workout, and that's more from a mental standpoint. I really think somebody going into a workout, they should either be, mentally focused on getting stronger, or they should be focused on building their endurance. Are there some exceptions, like if somebody's doing a specific athletic training, or if they're doing a specific I don't know, sport that they're getting ready for? But I think it's okay as long as you split it up. Maybe even one of my clients was just texting me before this conference saying, she was doing the strength training in the morning, the cardio in the evening, or vice versa. But same workout, I could see it being a little confusing, for the body, not for the body, but for the minds. I think if you go into a workout, it's like, hey, I'm either doing resistance training and I'm trying to build muscle, or I'm working on my endurance. Is it really gonna affect somebody's results, for the worse if they do it? No. I just think people should have that focus on one thing or another.
Wrapping this up, final question, and we're definitely going to do this again, guys. What options does your gym offer for strength building or strength classes?
We have classes for strength 5:00 in the morning every single day. Every day we split our upper and lower body workouts. Vinny is doing his full body class tomorrow at 5 a.m. Tomorrow, 5 a.m. Anybody that's watching. But it's just all various times. There's also 6 a.m., 9:30 in the morning, noon in the evening. So, we have different classes as well, like your cardio kickboxing, your kickboxing classes, your Zumba classes. But predominantly our classes are based around strength and on the weekends too. So, there's that for the classes. But if you're really not really looking to train, but if you're really looking to specifically work on something, there's the personal training options as well. So, if you're interested, we would love to help you out. Just be ready to bring it. That's all.
That's awesome. Yep. And Mike, do you still personally train people?
I do. It's definitely, I think one of the things that has made us successful. It's also, somebody could look at it and, from a business standpoint, is it the smartest thing to do? Probably not, but I still, without getting too much into it, I always have that back against the wall mentality that, we still are a small business, even though, of course, on Facebook and Instagram, everything looks huge, and we're successful, thank God, but I still always look at it from day one. So I'm still very much involved in the business and on the business. It's it's 2 full-time jobs at once, but I still love training clients. I'm always going to train clients. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I would still train clients, but I do, I take on new clients. I, of course, try to help our other trainers out as well, because we have an amazing team and they all have their group of clients, but it's something I'll always do. Yeah.
Awesome.
This is my request for people who are listening live, or people who listen to this later on when it's posted on all the different Facebook channels. Share it, please share it, so a lot of the community and a lot of the local community, and maybe not even non-local community, can watch this 35-minute video. So please, guys, hit that share, and share it on your pages as you watch.
Yeah, and all of our members, or a lot of our members, I should say, as you guys know, have been to you guys before, and they start coming to you guys, and word of mouth is an amazing thing. And you talk about sharing, and just for you guys, it's a testament to what a great job you're doing. And without going on too much of a tangent, any small business, if you're doing the right thing and you're helping people, just know that people talk. A lot of times it could be a bad thing, but if you're doing a good job, people will put your name in a positive light. Every action, everything you do for your customers, everything matters. Everything matters.
And I will say to this end as well, folks, if you're watching this and you want us with Mike to cover a certain topic, just drop it in the comment section, and we'd be glad to talk about it. Just keep it PG rated, and we'd be glad to talk about it. We're available. We love doing these things. Mike is a wealth of knowledge and is really excited. Is in the community, really helping people to help themselves. So we're really excited to have Mike on, and would love to do another one. So let us know.
I'll chat with you guys whenever.
Yep.
Sounds good. Good night, guys.
All right. Good night, guys. Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.